it is Chester Singh doing his puppet podcast. I know, you're on the internet watching a ball of latex talk to you. It's not porn, but it's close. I mean, I don't know if you've been watching, but I saw that meeting with Ramaphosa and Trump, and my goodness, I've never seen a president cuck himself. When Donald Trump said, here's the video, Cupcake was like, I proper thought he was gonna... Because, this guys, Trump, clearly will believe anything he sees, like literally anything he sees on the internet, anything. Donald Trump thinks that Ghostbusters 2 is a documentary about farm murders because the ghosts are all white. And Johan Rupert even had to stick his head up and say, no, crime, no, man, listen, crime affects all of us. It's not just one race. I mean, how racist are you when even Johan Rupert's going, okay, calm the hell down. And for some reason, there were two white golfers there. There were two white golfers and Johan Rupert, and then Ramaphosa. It's like Ramaphosa was a BEE partner in his own frickin' country. So I'm very confused. By now, anyone with a brain understands that the Afrikaner white genocide is just AfriForum's version of an SABC TV license. It's a money-making scam. One of those Afrikaner refugees, I don't know if you saw this guy, he got so upset. He left his mother behind in South Africa and a 5-bedroom house. Clearly, the bond payments were oppressing this guy. Someone needs to take ABSA to the Human Rights Council. So, guys, I don't understand. How much that phone call have gone down? As hi, Mom. Yeah, no, I'm going to America too. Yeah, I know there's a genocide, but you're going to have to stay because it's either you or the domestic worker and you don't like cleaning. So, this country's nuts. It's great to be back for the second episode of the Chester Singh Real Problem podcast. There's a Chester Singh's Real Problem, and we have a fantastic guest with us today.
Just hold it there.
I'm sorry, he does this in everyone. He has no idea what he's doing. This is his first time doing a podcast.
And open your mouth a little.
Oh, my God. Thanks, God. So this is what happens when you have to create podcasts on a budget. But I'm very excited that we have one of my favorite people. This is a great South African. I know. We know the Afrikaners are under attack, and today we have an actual South African documentary maker, and he made a documentary called Afrikaans. Hey, Dylan, how's it going?
Hey, Chester. Great to see you, man. Thank you for having me.
It's an honor. It's an honor. I've always been a fan of your work. You're here. Have you ever chatted to a puppet on the internet before?
This is probably my first time.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
You can start an OnlyFans account when you're done here. Who's your daddy? And thanks for coming through to Claremont to talk to us. I know the traffic's nuts in Cape Town. Listen, Dylan. I need to start slowly. Dylan Valley, are you aware that even your surname is land?
I was not aware of that, but now I am.
Mr. Valley. Well done. You can expropriate yourself.
I should do that.
Actually. You should do that. I'm taking myself. Thank you very much. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, thank you. Do that again. You know so that smooth. You win. Oh, no, you get a tender every time you do that. Oh, yeah. Touch a puppet's head. Who's your daddy? He works at UCT, so we know who his daddy is. Listen. Dylan, you teach kids about documentary making, and you made this amazing documentary, Afrikaans. And if you don't know what's going on here, Afrikaans is a very complex language, and the idea of being an Afrikaner is something that, oh no, we're the most oppressed people on earth. We had apartheid, and now we're victims. It's amazing. It feels and smells like Israel. Listen, Dylan, first of all, can you explain Afrikaans? What is that?
So Afrikaans is basically the Kaaps dialect of Afrikaans. So it's basically taking Kaaps, which is like a form of Afrikaans, or like some people call it dialect, some people call it language, and then taking the word Afrikaans and make it Afrikaans. And that's what the rapper Jitsvanger came up with when we were making the film Afrikaans, and the theater show that the film was based on. Yeah.
Right. So I'm just trying to follow here. So Afrikaans, you say in this documentary, you point out that Afrikaans is actually the first people to speak Afrikaans are actually people of color.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you explain? Because that's very confusing. Because every time I hear Afrikaners, they want to know it's white people that are suffering. And I find out that Afrikaans is actually a black language. It's an African language. What the hell's going on? Can you give us the basics?
Yeah, so basically this is like, it's been knowledge for a long time. Academics like Ahmed Davids wrote about this way back, and even Zaki Ahmad made a film about this, I think in the 90s. So we weren't the first to, make a project on this. But basically, like the word Afrikaner means African, and so Afrikaans predates even the naming of it as Afrikaans. So the first written Afrikaans was in the madrasas in the Boer Kaap. The first people to call themselves Afrikaners were actually black people. They were Khoi people who left the Cape Colony, and they went into through Namaqualand, Northern Cape, and like they went into Namibia and founded Windhoek. They were called the Oorlams Afrikaners.
Hang on a second. Hang on, no, hang on. I think you're making up stories here. The first people, just look in the camera. Come closer, you bastards. The first people to call themselves Afrikaners were black.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh, Afriforum. Go pump yourselves with a rusty wind pump. Oh my God. Hang on a second. The first people to talk Afrikaans and call themselves Afrikaners were black. That is entirely against the narrative these people are selling.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, the word Afrikaner just means African. And then when Afrikaner nationalism comes about, it's when they have this thing called die Genootskap van die Regte Afrikaners, which even in the naming of that makes you,
I don't know, no idea. It sounds like you had a throat infection. Die Genootskap van die Regte Afrikaners. What does that mean for the people who don't speak Afrikaans?
So they're saying we are the organization of the true Afrikaners.
Oh my God.
So even in the naming of that, it tells you like there was probably other people already calling themselves Afrikaners, but they were kind of trying to unite the working class white Afrikaans, this kind of Cape Creole of Dutch that was happening, which was only happening because of the mixture of languages due to slavery and indigenous languages mixing with Dutch and those people speaking it. So yeah, they were like, we need to call ourselves the real Afrikaners, because all these people like Afrikaners, because they were trying to consolidate a new identity and break away from Europe and contest like the English, so it was all this there's all this power plays going on. So they created this new identity called Afrikaners. Yeah, which
that's a lot. Let's just break this down for the stupid people watching. And by stupid people, I mean John Steenhuisen. Listen, okay. So we've got this Creole language. I don't think people know what a Creole is. Let's start. Isn't Afrikaans just like Kak Dutch? What is Afrikaans? Like, this is Afrikaans. If you put Dutch in a blender, you get Afrikaans. Because I heard that Afrikaans has like Malay words. It's got Khoi words. Just let's start off. It's not Dutch. It's a mix. What is a Creole, and explain that for the stupid people watching? There's this guy who watches. His name's Tabo. He knows who he is. He's an idiot. I think he votes for Cope. Explain what Creole is and how Afrikaans came to exist as a language that's not Dutch.
Yeah, so basically Afrikaans only became a language that broke away from Dutch because the slaves, enslaved people were brought from places like Indonesia and, like other parts of Africa, like Madagascar, West Africa to the Cape, were speaking Dutch.
Yep.
And so the mixture of these languages is what led to Afrikaans. That's what we call a Creole language, where there's this kind of, due to like forces like colonization, you get a mixture going. So like people are speaking this mix, and that's how Afrikaans started, basically.
Okay, I'm understanding now. Creole does sound like a type of chip. By the way, Grant Atkinson, our camera guy and social commentator, I have no idea what time I'm at, so you're going to have to tell me midway. I forgot to set my clock going. And the amount of kak we can talk today is wild, because this is bananas. We've just found out that Afrikaans is a black language. The first person to call themselves Afrikaans is white, and that now we've got... So are there words that are Khoi in Afrikaans?
Yeah, like words like Eina, for example.
Eina, I always knew it was Khoi. I was like, Eina, you stole my land. Every time someone colonizes me, that's what I say. Eina. And Futsak, that must be Khoi.
I wonder. No, I don't think so.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's Khoi.
Yeah,
it means go away, Steve Hofmeyer.
Yeah. Like the Futsekkers, like.
The Futsekkers, there we go.
The 49ers.
The 49ers. Shame. Steve's very upset because that's all the people who bought tickets to his last show.
Yeah. So there's like lots of words in like what official Afrikaans that actually come from like either Khoi sources or from Indonesia. Like words like, for example, like baiki, words like baya, pisang. Those are all words.
Pisang. What's pisang?
A banana.
No, but I mean, where's it from?
That's from Indonesia. That's an Indonesian.
Are you for real?
Word. Yeah, yeah.
Pisang is Indonesian.
Yeah.
Pisang. Sounds like you have a urinary tract infection. Oh, I've got a severe case of pisang. We're going to have a little quick Afrikaans lesson, okay? We're going to do an Afrikaans mondeling. Teach me some words.
So my favorite Afrikaans word would be mochi.
Mochi.
Do you know what that is?
Isn't that little sweet that Japanese people eat?
No,
The mochi.
A mochi. Well, that's the Japanese understanding of it. But a mochi is actually your girlfriend. Or
Oh,
your wife.
really?
Yeah. Do you
That's
have?
kind of... No, I don't have a good... What the... I'm a puppet. What type of pervert do you think I am? I was dating 3 Barbie dolls.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
you had 3 mochis, basically.
No, I had 3 mochis.
Yeah,
Mochikikikis. Okay, teach me another word.
So you probably know this one already, but awe is like a common one.
Aware that everybody started saying. Is that? Is that?
That's
okay.
a cops word.
I didn't know
that's
that.
as a cops word.
Did it mean hi?
It's like it could be like hi. It could be an affirmation of like, wow, that's cool. You say, well, I just got paid R1 million to do the show. Then you go, aware.
Oh, it's like a good thing. It just means absolutely everything. Okay, that's lekker. It's like halala. That's great. Because I've seen a lot of Afrikaans and just white kids are just saying it now, and I'm going, I don't know which side of the cultural appropriation street I'm on. Do you think white people should be saying our way?
I think it's okay for them to say, as long as they know where it comes from.
I learned the Afrikaans word for an asshole the other day.
Oh, what is that?
Hey, it's Kurt Darren. I'm up. Right, so we got this language that's mixed that was invented. So enslaved people were talking it to each other. Mm-hmm. And then when did white people get involved? I wonder, how did it suddenly, why did white people start talking it? Because the idea of Afrikaner, if you ask Steve Hofmeyer and Afriforum, it's these white guys who invented this language. So we've worked out that's a load of crap. But then why did the white people start talking it?
They were talking it because they were in the minority in the Cape Colony. So like they were being influenced by this kind of Creole that's happening, that like this new language that's forming, or like these words that are, so it's kind of like this, they called it at the time like Kombuis Dutch, or like kitchen Dutch, right?
Right, yeah.
And so more and more people started speaking this, mostly like working class white people. And then they realized that they had to standardize this thing so they could spread Christianity, that they could also be more, that the white people speaking like this way could be seen as respectable. So like you're thinking about versus like the English, like we had this idea of high culture being English. So
you know the hello.
Yeah.
You know why they have that accent? Hello. You know why they sound like that? Hello. Because they got all Africa's gold stuck in their freaking noses. Hello. It's wild. Listen, this class thing you're talking about, okay? So you got working class Afrikaans people, Jack Parow and such, and they are now talking this like problematic Dutch, this Dutch that's got pisangs in it, and then suddenly the rich Afrikaans people go, no, okay, I don't know how rich Afrikaans spoke back then. Okay, listen, I have no idea. I don't know. Hello everybody, I don't know. Okay, listen. Then they said, no, we can't let these poor Afrikaans people associate with these black people because that's just going to ruin our whole game plan. Is that what happened?
Yeah. It was like a unification project. It was kind of to unify, and not unification across race or different groups, but like with poorer Afrikaans people or like, well, at the time they weren't Afrikaners, but poorer people like Dutch, Creole people, and then your richer people who were speaking this kind of new Kombuis Dutch. So they wanted to unify this and create this new identity against the English.
So to fight the English. Okay, now this is where I get a bit confused. Because your parents are both Afrikaans, right?
Yeah, they are both Afrikaans.
Yeah. Right. So if both your parents are Afrikaans, are you not an Afrikaner? And if so, are you not going to become a refugee?
Hey, I mean, they didn't invite me. They did not invite me. I think because I would like to be included in this idea of what is an Afrikaner, but I'm not, because it's the Afrikaner nationalist project created this idea of Afrikaner as a white person who speaks Afrikaans.
But if race doesn't exist, right? If race is fictitious,
other
than the suffering of people who were classified as brown, Do Afrikaners actually exist?
Remember,
if you answer this wrong, you're going to go viral.
I know.
And Afriforum will be phoning you.
They don't exist in the way that...
He's saying Afrikaners don't exist. I'm out. His name's Dylan Valley, at Dylan Valley. No, I'm joking. That's kind of wild. You messed my hand up. Sorry, the guy whose hand's in my bum messed my hand up. So they don't exist in the way that we've been told they exist.
Yeah, totally. It's like there's not like they don't exist in the sense that they're not intrinsically, like their bodies don't carry like some DNA that is called Afrikaner in it. It's just an idea that they presented and created this identity because politically it worked for them, right? And so
right.
That's what led to also apartheid.
So a political tool, of course it led to apartheid, didn't it? Because then they went and joined, that was literally the argument for apartheid, to uplift poor white people eventually.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Wow,
so,
that's amazing. You learn everything here on the Puppet Podcast. You could have gone and watched a real person do a podcast like Mac G, but no, that's a load of cuck. They'll just be rude about women's what's.
Yeah.
Listen. Yeah. Okay, listen. All right. Okay, we've established. How do we win the fight to decolonize Afrikaans? How do we make sure that people remember that this is a language that isn't just for white people, and this whole scam we're being sold about the oppressed Afrikaner is a load of cuck? Must Kurt Darren change his name to Tabo Darren? Should we change Cake Net's name to Cake for the Racism Net? How do we do this?
Yeah, no, I think it's being done already. Like, I think, people are doing this by creating TV shows where people are speaking Kaaps, like openly. And normally you only see Kaaps on TV if someone is like a gangster. And that's changing. Like, that's changing now. And so, so people like, rappers and poets and people like this have been doing this for a long time, like people like Adam Small, nowadays, like Chitsvinger, who was in the movie that we made. So those are ways to decolonize. The thing is, like, you have huge media companies like Naspers who control the narrative around Afrikaans as well. Right?
Bastards.
So
Bastards. Apartheid's literal Popeye. Apartheid's Takalani apartheid. Naspers. Koos hou jou bekker. Exactly. How do we fight the narrative? Because eventually the people in the media industry who decide how we must remember this language, Afrikaans, they're eventually, 62% of senior management in South Africa are white. So how do people of color not just get portrayed as a racist stereotype that everyone's a gangster? I mean, is the word colored still a word we should use? This is a very complex situation.
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole other conversation. But I mean, even Afrikaans, as a language, was used during the struggle, like in places like UWC, to talk about stuff like Black consciousness. So Afrikaans is kind of seen as this white oppressor language, but it's had like a long history of also like struggle. People like Alan Busak would hold rallies in Afrikaans, and so things like that. So, it's like, and the word, and it's very linked to like this idea of what is the colored, and that's another thing like we should unpack at some point. But that's a full other conversation. But
I think a lot of I have friends who are mixed race South Africans, what people sometimes call colored, and they sometimes, there's things that all colored people just speak Afrikaans. They're all exactly the same. Seems like a dangerous area in this conversation. I know we don't have time for it today, but how do we navigate that?
Yeah, I mean, thinking about colored people, like all speaking Afrikaans. I mean, I get that a lot where people speak Afrikaans to me, and like my Afrikaans sounds very English when I speak, so I'm very self-conscious about it. So I think the main thing is for us to not assume things about each other. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what I would assume about you.
I don't know. I've got a white guy's hand in my ass. What you'd assume is that I'm a journalist at Naspers. Oh, bird!
Oh.
Bird! Oh!
Yeah,
oh! Dylan Valley said it. Oh! What are you doing, Chester? I'm looking out because Becker's going to come smack you in the face with your I'm Rupert. Okay, this has been great. Listen, final. Should Steve Hofmeyr be paying royalties for the land and language that he stole?
I'm going to go with yes on that one, yeah.
In your face, you smelly-looking cat bastard scum. Frickin' ball bag. He looks like testicles that learn how to sing. And I'm being very generous when I say you learned how to sing. We had Charlize Theron saying that there are only 44 people who speak Afrikaans, but 49 Afrikaners were sent to sent to America. So now there's 5 extra of them. They are pumping each other. How do we speak back to the system while it's being created? Yes, we can make the documentary or 2, but if you don't have the money, how do you fix it?
Yeah, I mean, well, now we have like social media, we got, TikToks, things like that. So people are doing a lot of this kind of work on TikTok and that kind of thing, I think that, when Charlize Theron is saying like there's 44 people who are speaking Afrikaans, she's talking about like the refugees who went to the US. They're talking about a kind of narrow racial group and a racial understanding of Afrikaans instead of thinking about it. Like all the people speak Afrikaans. So it's like 6 out of 10 people who speak Afrikaans are black, basically.
Let me say that again. 6 out of 10 people who speak Afrikaans are black. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, AfriForum, you're going to panic when you watch this video. You guys are going to have to give it a BEE partner and he's going to have 60%. That's wild. 6 out of 10 Afrikaans speakers. So can we not just start calling them Afrikaners?
Yeah, I mean I think
Yes, we can. Thank you, Dylan.
Yeah, totally. I think like the idea of, what is an Afrikaner? These are all things that we should reimagine. Like, so you have people like even Patrick Millett, who's in the documentary, who wrote this book, The Lie of 1652. About when Jan van Riebeeck landed here on our shores.
What is the lie of 1652?
Well, that they discovered this place where people were just doing nothing and just hanging about and that kind of thing.
So what's the truth?
Well, at that time, there'd already been like a trade route established at the Cape, and you had people somebody like Harry de Strandloper, which we learned about like when we were kids.
I remember that guy. And so Harry de Strandloper, and then he ran around. We don't know what he did.
Yeah,
what did he do?
He was actually like an early diplomat. He was like representing the people that his tribe, which I think was the Hessequa tribe, the Khoi. And so he was basically like this early diplomat. He was already kind of doing all these things when Jan van Riebeeck came. So like there's this idea that people are just like bumbling around and they came and made
That's exactly. They always go, but did you write anything? You were just standing around here wearing nothing. And that seems like a racist trope. Like it's almost like we had apartheid and then some racists taught us the history of the people who lived here. It's almost like that's what happened.
Yeah. It's almost as if, yeah.
Because to be honest, you don't see this in the current history classes. I think that they're evading this entire section of history class when they teach it at schools. And then what happens is 10 years later, even though the ANC's had massive power to change this, then because you can blame them for not making an effort to do this. It's not like there weren't people in the ANC with the power to change this stuff. And then 10 years later, you got 30 years later, you got AfriForum going, oh no, we're so oppressed with ons taal. And you're like, but it's not ons taal, it's that guy's taal, and that guy you turned into a slave, so shut up.
Yeah, I mean, you put it really well.
That's right. We don't need you. Goodbye. I'm out. Thanks for coming to the podcast. I've realized I'm far from this guy. I want to get closer. No, be quiet while I move closer. Oh, yeah. Okay.
You okay?
All right. Smells like UCT. If they teach Afrikaans at school, they teach Kaaps at school, can you help us with one thing, please? Mm-hmm. We need to cancel Mondelungs, because that cuck sucked. I'm sorry, there's no situation where Mondelungs are not a crime against humanity, Dylan.
Yeah, that'll be the first thing to go.
The first thing to go.
We'll work on that.
Land back, then cancel Steve Hofmeyer, then no more Mondelungs. Thank you, Dylan. You were fantastic. Thanks. Where can we find you on the socials?
If you just Google Dillon Valley, you'll find me. There's not a lot of us out there.
Won't we find a holiday resort? Because that's what it sounds like. It sounds like somewhere you go to sit in a spa and avoid a farm murder. Where'd you go away for the weekend? Dillon Valley.
Actually, the only other Dillon Valleys out there are white kids in America.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, when you arrived, I thought I was going to get an American white kid. I was amazed.
But you'll recognize me.
I'll find you. I love you. Thanks, man. You guys are watching The Real Problem with Chester Missing. Thanks. Subscribe, share, do all the things. Rub my head against Dylan. That felt so... Oh, yeah. Oh, Steve Hofmeyer, you racist pustule, you hemorrhoid with a facial hair. Oh, God. Afrikaans is an African language. Voetsak.